Hello, everybody. Welcome to Creatacast with your host, David Welch. Today's show is about walking in general, exercise in general, but more importantly, to writing, getting inspiration from natural sources. Now, we could easily do this from our computer. We can see clips and pictures and posters of wilderness all day, but it's a different feeling being in nature. It's a different sense of being in the elements that yield high inspiration. So that's what I want to talk to you today. Obviously, we all know writing is oftentimes a sedentary sport. We can easily throw ourselves off by not being healthy. Now, there's a writer sitting out there somewhere who's like, yeah, healthy for me, cup of coffee, little whiskey in my coffee, and I'm good to go. I can write for days. But we also know what's true with writers is that we, in a lot of instances, don't take for granted the natural surroundings. And here's what I mean. You can find the words in the dictionary to describe things that you see, but to go there, feel it, sense it, touch it, smell it, and utilize your senses in regard to the scene, the situation that you're trying to create is better. I think that's why in a letter to me, Michael Curtis Ford, historical fiction author, said, it's great to have experience that goes along with your education. A lot of people are highly educated, but not a lot of people are experienced. And that's where those ideas come. So just be sure that when you do go out in nature, you find yourself sitting on a beach, or you find yourself even in transit on a bus going to work or going home or whatever the case may be, in your journal or your diary. One sec. Hello? Well, we are moving to Arizona from Fort Hood. Like, soon. Yeah, from Fort Hood, Texas. I don't live... Are you in Utah? Yeah, I'm not living in Utah. For years. I lived in Utah for a few years. Yeah. But I'm actually getting ready to leave on a retreat. Let me let you go. You too. Bye. Why is it? Why is it that I manage to get calls when I have my sound off and I'm not trying to answer these solicitors? Sorry for that inconvenience, everybody. But right now I'm outside. I'm in Las Vegas. I'm looking at planes fly overhead. There's chemtrails or trails from planes leaving. There is a slight, what do you call that? Corona around the sun. The sky is a patchwork of white and blue hues. It's a little bit overcast. The blue sky is starting to seep through. The sun's pretty decently bright. The weather's nice and cool. There's a slight breeze. I'd imagine, just by guessing, it's like 70 degrees. And the trees are not swaying. There's a gentle rustle, but not a full sway. That's how the breeze is going right now. The pavement is not hot underfoot. It is nice and cool still. The trees are, where I'm at, are crafted particularly for that business look. They are sheared in such a way to have design, and the trees in the complex mostly dead. Some still have leaves that are light green and golden hue to them, but that spring air is definitely breathing into Las Vegas. It's a nice feel right now. What I'm walking on, the sidewalk, is a gravel mixture sidewalk. Looks really good. It's cut with about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5 feet between spaces. Some spaces are cut a little bit differently. The asphalt where the cars are parked are a nice dark hue. I mean, it must have been recently done over. The lines are where people park are extremely white, so they must have just got painted recently, or at least in the last 100 days, because they're not worn or weather beaten. So this is an example of just observations in nature. Right now you may hear the roar of a plane because they're only about a stone's throw ahead of us or above us. In the grand scheme of things, when I was flying in, I could see the very rectangular and very symmetrical layout of Las Vegas. It's beautiful. A stone's throw from me, literally a stone's throw, is the highway. And cars are buzzing by, the sound of the road. And this is what I'm talking about. So when you're out in nature, if you're out actually in the elements, you get a gauge, you get a feel for how things are. That gives you a little bit of a frame of reference to write from. Now we can readily recall probably yesterday's weather, or even how it felt during the worst blizzard of your life, or the worst heat, experience you've ever experienced. But the everyday calm of the weather, the everyday walk in nature, especially if you're in a forested area, if you're in a desert climate, the character of nature itself can be a boon and a benefit, but it can also be a hindrance. We've seen too many times in writing and even poetry that nature itself can become a very vivid, very lucid seeming menace, or a very, very spunky oasis in the grand scheme of the setting of being out in the elements. There's a difference of the jungle that you feel when you're in the jungle of the Amazon versus the jungle of Asia. I mean, there's just different climates, the way you describe it. Like, it's a different autumn in Idaho and Utah versus an autumn in Connecticut, Vermont, even up in New York. Both beautiful, but just starkly different. There's a little bit different edge to them, a little bit different vibrance in the hues of the leaves and the different types of trees you have. Now, one thing I want you to consider, and this is kind of a prompt for everybody, I want you to go out today, go for a nice 10-minute walk. It could be even longer, or if you're on your daily run right now and you happen to be listening to this, think of how you feel. Think of how your body is reacting to nature around you and how you're consciously thinking about what your nerves are telling you, what your brain is telling you. Now, if you're off on a nice run, I mean, what are your endorphins? What is in your mind's eye that keeps you going? You know, are the birds on your walk slowly stalking you, cawing at you? Did you have a black cat run across your path? Did you see a mountain lion off in the distance? Tell me what your experience is. Write it down. Describe in vivid detail. Now, with this prompt, it doesn't need to be dialogue, but if you happen to be with a buddy, happen to be with a confidant or a friend, then by all means, incorporate them into your story. You can make up the dialogue. It doesn't need to be a verbatim, but definitely describe your friend, how nature's reacting to your friend. Is their skin sun-kissed from many days and many walks and many experiences under this beautiful sun, or are they pale as a ghost? Something you got to consider. So make that happen today. Do a gratitude walk. Walk in gratitude of your experience as a writer. And share this experience with the writing community. Tell me what it is you feel when you get in the car in the morning and commute to work. Is there a sense of detachment that you have when you are in your vehicle and you're looking out through the glass and just realize that you're still separated by what it is that nature has to offer? Who are my sailors out there? I know there's a few out there in the writing community. You know that feeling of looking up into the night sky when you're on the ocean and you got the entire Milky Way at your fingertips. Your mind's eye and your physical eye see the galaxy as it is. What is that experience? Are you sitting in a hammock? Are you sprawled on the deck somewhere with a nice coat as your pillow? Are you at the wheel, carefully navigating your trek to somewhere unknown, somewhere feisty, somewhere adventurous? Explain to me how that feels. Do you envision yourself as a conqueror of the ocean, or merely a careful traveler of a deep and dark underneath you? Doesn't have to be. Do you see nature? Do you see the ocean as a character of evil, or do you see it as a character of good? Do you see it as a neutral character with no feeling at all? Do you see the creatures in the ocean as a being to be feared, or a being to be revered? Are you listening to port, to starboard? Do you have a sail, or do you have an engine? Is there a nice hum underneath your feet, or the whip of the canvas? A nice sea salt breeze blowing in your face. What does that feel like? Tell us. Go for your walk. Take the boat out. Row out to a lake. Dive in that cool pool you've always wanted to do it. If you're on a walk and you happen to be near a nice fountain, jump in that motherfucker and enjoy it. If If you're near a nice fountain, knock your friend into it. See them go from perfectly dry and happy to wet and angry, and then document how you feel. Writers, we gotta have our experiences, right? Sometimes we gotta create those experiences. I've seen these videos on YouTube, and I love them, where these guys have a certain something that they challenge themselves to, and no matter what, when their buddies challenge them, no matter the setting, they have to do what it is that their friends challenging them to. And it could be as easily as like jumping into the fountain, jumping into some bushes, or maybe running up and, kissing a random stranger. Now, I don't recommend doing that, but I mean, the challenges are obtuse and silly, but do something safe. But yeah, you and a buddy go out today and do that. Interact with your community. There are people right now enjoying breakfast, brunch, dinner in somewhere, lunch, tea time, a repast, whatever the fuck they're doing, they're enjoying it right now. I think it's probably because I'm hungry that I'm saying this, but what are the smells? You're out to brunch, you're out to lunch, you're out there in the elements with people. People are sitting on a patio basking in the sun somewhere, or they're huddled up in their nice fur coat, and they're waiting for winter to say adios amigos for the 3 months or 4 months that it disappears. And what is that experience? Are you stuck? Do you feel stuck inside? Do you feel like the cold and the snow will never wane, never end? Are you shut in right now because there has been a huge snowdrift that has barricaded you indoors? And if so, what does that feel like? Is there a sense of foreboding or doom? Or is there a sense of security and safety? What is that? Who are you with? Are you alone? Are you with people? Are you with family? You have a family dog? You have an annoying squirrel that's up in the attic? Let me know. Write those experiences. So what I'm saying is, go out in nature today, experience the outside, see with your actual eyes. Don't wear sunglasses. Yes, you can take them off for a brief period of time to actually see the actual vibrancy of the real life, and get out of your vehicle. It is not nature if you're just driving around. Now, going for a good drive with your arm out the window with a good friend, and you're still having the wind whipping your face wherever you're at, then that's great. That is an experience. That is a visceral experience. That is a vibrant experience. But go a step further. Stop somewhere. Hike to a hill that you've always wanted to hike to. Damn that hill today. Or mosey on out to the pool and fall in some obtuse way, the way you've always wanted to fall in. Cannonball into that thing. Or if you're in the winter climate and you have a hot tub, challenge yourself. Jump into the snow, jump into the pool, and then run back into the hot tub. Feel something. Get a sense of that. Explain the sheer terror of diving into something cold and the sheer joy of submerging yourself into something warm. Get that explained. Put that down on paper. What I haven't seen in literature or poetry lately is the silliness of people. The abstract way or the odd ways people interact with other people in nature. What is that? What does that look like? Describe that. Now, when you are working on your writing today, just think, hey, I don't need to sit for 3, 4, 5, 6 hours at a time to be a writer. No. You can be a writer moseying on with your day, walking around, taking a notebook, jotting down some notes, and then coming back, write 1,000, 2,000 words, and then get up and go do something else. Change the laundry, play with your kids. And I'm sure everybody's already like, oh, I do that every day. I already have that experience. Well, have you ever described that experience to someone else? Do you have toddlers at home where your day in and day out is a mixture of love and terror? I do. I have toddlers at home. Here's how I describe my experience at home. At any given moment, my kids will shout with joy or terror, glee or fear. Toys rest in crevices or underfoot, and sometimes in their toy box. Rolling around on the bed is an adventure because you may have Mr. Potato Head's arm underneath you. Going to the bathroom is a scary endeavor because they won't leave you alone. They will follow you in there. Outlets. If they are not already covered, those are a plaything and very amusing to babies and toddlers. They find joy in them. They are a mystery. They are tactile. They feel with their hands. They love with their heart. And they think with their heart. A video screen is about 2 hours of my kid's day. And I'm not the biggest fan of that, but that's a reality when, as a father, I'm trying to get laundry done, clean the house, keep them safe, keep them fed, cook, whatever the experience is. Grooming and exercise, as we all know, can fall by the wayside. Sometimes it does for me. Some meals are extremely healthy, others not. Kids love chicken nuggets, hot dogs, mac and cheese, juice, milk, and on a very rare occasion, water. But that's what it is. That is my experience at home. When we play, our recesses are hours-long endeavors, if I can make it. My day used to think about what I was going to go conquer as an individual. Now it is, what can we conquer as a team, as a family unit? What experience do I want my children to have today? Do I walk with them hand in hand to their favorite playground? Do I let them ride their bikes for over an hour to experience that? Do I ride our bikes all the way to the nearest big boy playground and big girl playground for them to experience? Yeah, we do that. We often see in the house a hodgepodge of candies, crackers, goldfish, crumbs of all sorts of size, meet the ground and crevices we never thought we even had in the house. Now, we don't have a dog, but they love dogs. They have an affinity for those lovable Labradors. They have a slight fear of bigger dogs. They have a desire to connect with other people and play. They love it when kids are at their playground. Remind me that they add that ownership to whatever it is they do, wherever it is they go. In fact, it's mine is an often said phrase by my son, whose vocabulary is somewhat limited. But those are my experiences. My son oftentimes has just a diaper on. Sometimes he'll be running around with no diaper. Sometimes just the lower half, sometimes just the upper half of clothes. Sometimes his sister's clothes. Genevieve loves being in charge. She likes dictating terms to Dad and brother. She loves to exert control. And very much like me, she wants it her way or the highway. And if it's not her way, she'll do something to sabotage it. She will fight. She will throw down. My son has no fear factor. My son will throw down with individuals and creatures much larger than himself. But he will run away with glee when his sister is chasing him, when I am chasing him posing as a dinosaur. That is one of our favorite games. I play the best possible T-Rex that I can and chase them around the playground. The playground. What does that look like? What playground is David talking about? Well, it is a plastic endeavor on a bed of bark. It is outlined and separated by a cement. I wouldn't even say cement. Yeah, I'd say cement. By a cement barrier that separates the bark from the grass. My kids often trip over it, try to balance themselves on it, and go over it in order to play on the playground. My playground has 2 slides, and this is a toddler playground, so it's a very small playground. Has some steps, 2 small slides, a couple of tactile games, matching games on it. Not very not very intricately designed, but very efficient for the imagination of toddlers. However, on the playground or near the playground is a swing. This is their favorite pastime. They love to swing. They love to swing, and Genevieve yells, "Higher, Daddy, higher," often to me. She celebrates with fits of laughter, whereas my son celebrates with lazily enjoying the experience so much that he'll doze off and enjoy the slumber and rebuke me if I stop, and how dare I. Sometimes, even if it's brisk, they want to be on the swing. I arm themselves with coat and mittens and beanie or hood so that they keep as warm as possible while enjoying their swinging. The swing, it's a very large affair with nice, decent-sized chain, and the seat itself is one for toddlers. It allows them to be harnessed like a chastity belt that goes, or a girdle that goes around them, and where their legs come out. So experience this. Experience and enjoy the podcast. Please send me your submissions to dwelch 9627. That way I can read your work live on air. Please send me something in regards to your nature walk. Give me the details. Let me know how things feel. Mull things around your mind. Carry a notepad on you and a pen. If you don't, are you really a writer? Or is your device your pad of paper? And sometimes that is. Sometimes that is definitely the case, and I completely understand you. It is okay to have this device, to keep your notes, to lodge your ideas, even a text message to a friend that doesn't appear to be in any random order or make sense to them, but it does to you. And you can just say, "Oh, well, my cat stepped on my computer and stepped on my phone and sent that to you. Well, the grammar's pretty decent for a cat, but it's okay. It was the cat. So however it is you keep notes, if you have a photographic memory, that's amazing. Kudos to you. And that is awesome. So think about this and move forward with your lovable lives today. Please reach out to Creatacast, D Welch 9627. I look forward to your submissions. Please make sure all submissions are 10 pages or less of fiction, nonfiction, poetry, essays, and I will take scripts and plays and skits. So please get them to me. Make it as legible as possible. Arial or Times New Roman, font size 12. If you are doing a form poem, yes, you can be single-spaced. If you are doing fiction, please, double space. Essays, double space. Thank you. In the subject heading, please put Creatacast submission. And for the love of Pete, I want to know who you are. Give me a little bit of a bio. If you want your voice to be on the podcast, we can set up a time to have a conversation, or please send me an audio clip. That way I can play that for the audience with you reading your work the way you want it read. If you've gotten Morgan Freeman to read your work, please send me that damn clip and I'll be happy to play it. I would love that. So be creative. Send me your work. I look forward to experiencing you. I look forward to getting your work out there. I don't care if you're a published author of repute, or if you're taking your first stab at writing a novel or whatever have you. Please send me your work to dwelch9627@gmail.com. WELCH. Have a great and wonderful day. I look forward to coming back to the world, because I'm heading out in nature for the next day or so, and experiencing what you've sent me.